today on Breakthrough with Bill Krause.
What is wisdom? Wisdom is God's way of doing business. There's not an answer. Wisdom is this. You think you're the only one going through it. You think you're the only one that messed up. You're the only one that stopped reading your Bible. When you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, when you can't see that ray of hope, then you want to do what? Quit. I'm Pastor Bill Krause. God has used me to help thousands of others. Now I want to help you break through. I'm sure glad you're with us today. I am fully aware, I have revelation knowledge of the pressure that people are under. Not only is it on me, but God has revealed to me the pressure that the believers are under, that those that are searching are under. I have answers for you in this series. I'm going to teach you in 3 parts. The first one, I'm going to show you from Proverbs chapter 1, how we're to live. It shows us how our relationship with God, what we're supposed to be part of, what we're supposed to avoid. God lays it all out. He makes it clear. He doesn't want you and I under that pressure. He knows that under that pressure we can make wrong decisions. He knows that we can get led astray. So God has laid it out how you, how I can walk in a peace, a hope, a joy of tomorrow. So open your Bible, take notes. Let's lay out a path for you to walk on that'll bring you to victory.
Forgiveness, A Key to Success by Bill Krause is a practical, step-by-step guide to freedom in every area of life. So many people struggle with relationships that ended because one or both people failed to forgive. Lives can be changed forever when someone decides to let go of the pain of the past, their own hurt, and allows the miracle of forgiveness to permeate their heart and mind. Through real-life stories depicting the benefits of being forgiven and living the life of a committed forgiver, Bill Krause leads you through the process of forgiving yourself, others, and even God in this simple, easy-to-read, and powerful book. Did you know unforgiveness is not even a real word? It doesn't exist, not even in the dictionary. That's how much God doesn't want us to hold bitterness or grudges in our lives. Bill Krause's book, Forgiveness, A Key to Success, is a life-changing teaching that gives you the courage, the understanding, and the biblical proof to live a life truly free. Today, you can walk this road to freedom by getting your copy of Bill Krause's Forgiveness, A Key to Success. This book is available in paperback and audio formats on our website at billkrause.com.
I want to minister to you today on, I'm still on this thing on pressure. We are under great pressure in our lives. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're pregnant, not pregnant, married, not married, black, brown, yellow, red, white, Democrat, Republican, Independent, don't know what you are, doesn't matter. There's pressure on every human being in the world. We know too much information. Everything is reported now. We know that a building collapsed in Florida. We know that we just know all this stuff going on. We know all this political stuff, and we know who had a problem, and we know how many accidents and how many dead. And if you drive on the California highways right now, you know how many people died last year. I think it's 2051 or whatever. I don't know. They keep putting it up on the signs. And so you have this information that we never knew when we were kids. People died on the highway, but you didn't know they died, unless they were a personal friend or a family member. And so my point is, you're given all this information, and then you have increase in pay causes pressure. You have decrease in pay causes pressure. I've taught a number of these, but I want to teach today out of Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, because as I was praying, meditating, seeking the Lord on this pressure thing, what to do, he said, all they have to do, and I have been reading these Proverbs for over 40 years now. I don't skip a day. When there's 30 days in a month, I still read Proverbs 31. When there's 28 days in a month, I still do 29, 30, and 31. I read them, I love them, I like them, I meditate on them, I enjoy them. So Proverbs chapter 1 is just a great guide for how to deal with pressure. Proverbs 1 is a great guide to how to deal with pressure, how to prepare for it, and then it explains why if you don't prepare, how you're not going to have the answers when you need them. Now, don't get mad at God when we get to that part of the teaching. God didn't set that up, right? If we tell you we're all going to walk 20 miles on the first weekend of November, everybody hear me now, we're going to walk 20 miles on the first weekend of November, and you don't start taking some form of exercise, maybe lose a few pounds, maybe start walking, then we're going to go on a 20-mile walk, and you're going to go about 4 or 5 miles, and you're going to start aching, and you're going to have blisters, and you're going to have these problems. You're going to say, well, you know what? This is mean. You asking us to walk 20 miles. No, it wasn't mean. We gave you fair warning. We said we're on the first week in November. You have, 3-4 months to prepare. Take the time. Get involved. Start off. So we're not being mean. We're being kind. But if you don't prepare, you're going to be unkind to yourself. So let's read this. These are the Proverbs of Solomon. This is the son of David. Solomon was the wisest man that ever lived, it said, and people came from around. He was the king of Israel. Verse 2, and this is what you need to do. You need to know wisdom and instruction. Now that word know, you would equate it or understand it in the English language. It means the equivalent of having intercourse. When a husband and wife married to each other come together and know each other in the family. It's a very intimate, very close. And if you know wisdom, what is wisdom? Wisdom is God's way of doing business. There's not an answer, wisdom is this. Wisdom is what God would do in that situation. And James chapter 1 and verse 5 said that God will give wisdom liberally, freely, completely, to all those that have. You don't even have to be saved. If you'll ask God for wisdom, He'll show you the way to go. So if you don't know the way to go, you're not asking the good and mighty God. But to know wisdom, you want to know it intimately. And instruction. You ever give your kids instruction, grandkids instruction? You tell them what to do, and what happens? Not much. Because you give them an instruction, but they don't know the instruction. But what they really don't know is they don't know that that instruction is to save their life. That instruction is to, and it may not be to save their life that day, but to learn to know instruction, to follow it, means that you grow in the grace of God and you come to a pattern of following instructions. So when God says get up and go, you get up and go, and the restaurant blows up that day, you're not there because God said get up and go. So you want to know intimately, to embrace wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. So when people are coming to you, when wisdom is coming to you through whoever, then you perceive it. You say, wisdom. I see wisdom here. I see understanding. I see instruction. But you want to be able to perceive it. Verse 3. To receive. So remember it said to perceive understanding and to know instruction. Now it's to receive the instruction of wisdom, because if you know wisdom, and you know intimately instruction, then you have to receive it. All right, I don't have anything in my pockets, but if I had a $100 bill here in my pocket, and I pull it out of my pocket, then you would, and I say, who wants this $100 bill? You would have to come up out of your seat to receive it. Here it is, it's available for you, but now you need to receive it. Or if I have a gift, and it's all wrapped up, and it's pretty, and it's in a bow, and I said, here's your gift, and I'm holding it out to you, and you won't receive it, that gift's not going to do you any good. To receive the instruction of wisdom. But then it says to receive the instruction of justice. Justice is what is truly right. Not true or right in your mind, but what's truly right is justice. Judgment. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. There's a judgment. Do you know that if you speed long enough, run enough red lights, you're going to get caught? Yes. There's going to be a camera. There's going to be a policeman. There's going to be an accident. There's going to be something that's going to catch you. God doesn't have to catch you. The state in which you reside will catch you. Verse 4. To give prudence to the simple. See, prudence is an understanding, a wisdom, to give prudence to the simple. Now, we're not talking simple like, I don't get it, simple. It's simple. I'm a simple guy. Prudence to the simple. I'm a very simple guy. I laugh when nobody else laughs. I find the simplest things funny. I don't need a joke to laugh. All I need is life to laugh. And it's to the young man. See, you want to have wisdom and this prudence to understand. To the young man, you want him to have what? Knowledge, a knowing, and discretion. Because do you ever try to teach a young man or a young woman in today's world, either one? You ever try to teach them? They have to be willing to receive the knowledge you're giving them because they don't have the experience you have. I would tell a young person, put money away in savings every week or every payday, whether you get paid once a week or every 2 weeks, but they don't listen to you. Why? Because they don't have the knowledge that money will be a lot of money later on. They don't see that they're developing a habit. So they don't have the knowledge, and they don't have the discretion. They don't have the ability to discern between what's best. It's not wrong. It's not wrong to spend all your money. It's not best to spend all your money. So they don't have the discretion. Verse 5. A wise man will hear. Now see, you can tell if you're a wise person because you hear. Now everybody hears me right now. But hearing is with the intention of you're going to do, not just, you all hear me. But are you going to do what I'm saying? That's hearing. That's the hearing we're talking about here. A wise man will hear and increase learning. See, I'm listening all the time. We were talking earlier that there was a problem. Doesn't matter what the problem was, there was a problem. So somebody came up with their solution to the problem. Their solution was wrong. They created more conflict by their solution. And this is what I told them. I get help every day of my life. Help with what, Bill? Help with digging a hole, help with hanging a picture, help with moving furniture, help with finances, help with going to the bank, help with my insurance. Do you understand? Help by a ride, help by somebody shining my shoes, help by somebody gassing my... I get help every day of my life. I'm a professional ask for help person. Are you lazy? No. I am a professional ask for help. And if you find the people overburdened under too much pressure, most of them will not call for help. And they will try to bobble their way through, fumble their way through. I'll solve this. I'm going to prove I have faith. I'm going to establish myself as a leader. Listen, I am a leader. I have a decent IQ. I can think, I can learn, I can grow. I plan, I purpose, I have discipline. I have all those things, but I need help. I could not put together that program that those of you that enjoyed it this morning could do that. That's not me. See, I could not do that, but I have a help meet. My wife put that together. Very educational, very inspirational, very, 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 makes you grateful that you're born in this great land. I'll tell you a great story. A number of years ago, I think 20, 25 years ago now, I running around with this ministry, and I go to their convention, their meeting. And when they go to the meeting, their guys had earpieces in, and they had walkie-talkies. So you could talk, the staff members could talk with each other. What did I do when I saw that at that convention? I came home and put that in my local church and had my ushers. Then I went to that minister's church, and guess what? They didn't use them at their church. Now, don't pick on them, but you see, I'm always taking what I learn here, and I bring it into my marriage, and I bring it into my grandfathering, and I bring it into my business, and I bring it into my church, and I bring it into my... So wherever I learn anything, and if you think about your life, too often you learn something at work and don't bring it home. You learn something in your marriage, but don't take it to your children. See, because whatever works for my wife, being kind, listening, what I learn in one place, I take to another, because a wise man will hear, and I always hear with the intention of doing. And if you think about when you listened, you heard what I said, what your boss said, your spouse said, but you didn't do it. It was the old saying, in one ear and out the other. And a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. Again, I'm compelled to get help. Why? Because I know stuff. But I found out that you know stuff, and you know stuff, and you know stuff, and everybody knows stuff. So I'm going to them for wise counsel. I would hear that wise counsel, counsel of what God would do. And then I would do what? I would apply it. Verse 6. To understand a proverb. See, you need to understand these proverbs. You need to understand the stories. You need to understand in the New Testament, Jesus talked in parables. These are proverbs. These are statements. These are statements that have multiple meanings to them. Not multiple meanings for confusion, multiple meanings for application of your life in different areas. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. You want to be able to hear what I'm saying no matter how, what, when, or where I say it. I am what you would call an extreme listener. I listen to each word that you state. I watch the body language. I listen to the voice inflection. And I also listen to the spirit of what you're saying. And then you're going to get the true meaning. Ever told somebody to do something and they don't do it? Then you go back and you ask them and say, why did you do that? And they'll say, that's what you told me to do. And you can even do that thing where, okay, now what did I say to you? And then they say it back. But what they say back means something different to them than it did to you. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord. Here it is. This is the ready? This is right here is an important one. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Now, many of you have your college degree. You have your MBA. Praise the Lord. You have your doctorate, you have these things, but you see, if you don't have the fear of the Lord, you don't even have the beginning of knowledge. You have all this great education, but the stuff that they taught me in school doesn't exist anymore. And by the time you get out of school, that education in the form of knowledge has already changed. But the fear of the Lord. But what is the fear of the Lord? The fear of the Lord is not, oh, I'm so afraid of you, God, and don't zap me, and don't break my leg, and don't kill me. No, the fear of the Lord is that I am aware of your presence. Everywhere I go, God, I know you're with me. So when I'm with my wife, I know God's with me. When I'm not with my wife, I know God's with me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So that I know that I'm not going to get away with anything anywhere because I know that God is with me. You talk different, you act different. I came from a background where the ordained ministers wore special garments. And I found out that when people saw those garments, they acted different. They didn't even have to believe in the position, but they acted different. They talked different. And then when they disposed of those garments, then people would spout off, and you might say, hey, this is, but the person would say, oh, no, I don't want to stand out. But do you see, they were a reminder of the fear of the Lord. They weren't God, but they were a worker for God. And so you get the feeling. You want to know and understand that God is always with you. He's watching every word you're saying. He knows every thought you're thinking. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning. If you really want to get into knowledge, then you have to get into the fear of the Lord. You have to be an awareness of His presence. But fools, aren't you glad you're not a fool? But fools despise wisdom and instruction. You ever try to talk to a kid and you want to tell them how to do it? I'm talking to a kid the other day, and I know how to do this. I said, no, you don't. You think you know how to do it. Let me show you how to do it. And I was able to take a few moments and show them how to do it. And guess what? They got considerably better because they're not trying to be stupid. They're just not smart yet. No, help me out here. And again, no condemnation. Nobody knows everything. Right? Remember you used to go to a doctor and the doctor took care of everything. Now you go to a doctor and he immediately sends you to another doctor. So you need to be on top of this, and you need to know that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So you don't have to respond. You've been quiet so far, so don't respond now. Do you receive wisdom when it's given? There's wisdom comes off the pulpit all the time. There's wisdom that comes from your budget counselor. Wisdom comes from your discipler. Wisdom comes from your boss. Wisdom comes from your parents. Wisdom comes from your spouse. Do you receive that wisdom, or do you reject it and push it away? But fools despise wisdom and instruction. Well, how about instruction? How are you at that? I know there's instruction comes off all the time off this pulpit. Whether it's announcements, whether it's the preacher, whether it's the visiting preacher, whether it's a testimony, wisdom and instruction comes off of this pulpit. Are you a fool? Don't say anything now. Just how you respond tells us if you're a fool, you despise wisdom and instruction. Now here's one of the keys. You need to shun evil. Verse 8. My son, hear the instruction of your father. Wow. And do not forsake the law of your mother. Now you see, the father's given instructions, but the mother is showing the way to do that instruction. Now I know we don't exactly live that way anymore, but it's a good way to live. But you see, my son, first of all, hear the instruction of your father, and do not forsake the law of your mother. For they will be graceful ornaments on your head and chains about your neck. Now listen, I know a lot of people like to wear different hats and braids and things in their hair and their head and chains around their neck, but that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the glory of God sits upon you. If you'll listen to the father and the mother God gave you. My father was not as mature as I in the things of God, but I listened to him. And because I did, I was graced and blessed because of it. For they will be graceful ornaments on your head and chains about your neck. Ladies and gentlemen, God has a program here. And if you watch the simplicity of it and read it, that's why God wants you to read this every first of the month. You read Proverbs 1. Why? Because it brings you the remembrance that I have to hear, that I'm a fool if wisdom is presented to me and I don't partake of it. Do I want to be a fool? Come on, nobody wants to be a fool. And yet we are a fool if we do not listen to wisdom and we do not listen to instruction. So I would ask you, encourage you, strengthen you to read this every month. I would encourage you to make it a part of your routine. I would encourage you to memorize it, meditate on it, work it into your life so that this is a process. We're going to continue this, but this is a process. This is the beginning. There's more steps. There's more steps that you go through. But see, it's simple if you follow the guidelines. Do you know that they now have to tell the people, do not put your hands under the mower until it's shut off? No, it's a rule. It's a law now. They have to state that. Why? Because some people couldn't figure out you don't put your hand under a moving mower. Listen, you have wisdom, you have knowledge, you have a God. No matter what your position, no matter what your relationship with God, God gives wisdom liberally to all that ask. So we talked to you about the first verses here. Now I want to get into verse 10 because this is the next phase. That's how to have a relationship with God. That's how to have a relationship with leaders in your life, your mother, your father, your bosses, the people that have been put in authority. Now I'm going to show you the next phase here. It says, my son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. Hello? Wait a minute, I'm talking to somebody. My son, my daughter, my brother, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, anybody that'll listen, if sinners entice you, do not people ask you from time to time to get involved with things that you get a great big clunk right about here? In your gut, in your spirit, in your born again part? Do you not see? Do not do this. And it says very clearly in this how to avoid pressure. So when sinners, come on, you work with sinners, you have sinners in your neighborhood. Hopefully you're not living with one, but that's another story. If they're enticing, if they're saying, come on, have a drink with me. Come on, let's go to the casino and see how the slots are running. Let's do whatever thing that you know is not right. And you know what's not right is whatever you're not supposed to do. Well, there you have it. God's simple plan for your way to live. He laid it out for us in this proverb. It's Proverbs 1. He starts off, for you, for me. How do I live? How do I spend my day? What do I think on? What do I engage in? Listen, you're the greatest thing in God's eyes there is. He died for you. He loves you. He wants you free of this pressure. He wants you to be able to wake up in the morning after a good night's sleep. He wants you to go to bed after a highly productive day. He wants you to live the best life ever. He has made a way, even if there is no way, He's made a way for you. So take the time, maybe even watch this again. Go over your notes. Read that proverb over and over. This is really a life of champions. This is a life of winners. This is an opportunity for you to engage with God and to know His way and to be reminded. And when we're first starting out, we need to be reminded. We don't get it the first time. That doesn't mean we're bad. And even if we get it more. Each time we do it, I've been reading it for 40-some years. I'm encouraging you to read it for the next 40 days. It'll become part of your life. It will change you. It will mold you. It will encourage you. And it'll make you into the champion that God designed you to be. Reach out to us. Tell us you're there. Let me know so I can pray for you personally. I am praying for you, but I want to see your name. You want to send a picture. I love you. I care about you. I'm here to help you with breakthrough. Go to our social media, go to our YouTube channel. We're here to break through with you.